Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here. In today's age, you can't just have boring photos on your property marketing listings. You've got to have a virtual walkthrough tour. That way, tenants can quickly qualify themselves and look through the property even at 2 in the morning online. But I can hear you say, look, Darren, it's too expensive with cameras and takes too long. That's why you've got to go to virtualtourscreator.com.au and check out how you can do walkthrough virtual tours using your mobile phone. Go and check it out. Also, talk to Tom there at virtualtourscreator.com.au on how you can quickly turn your tours into really cheap floor plans as well. Take care. Hi everyone, Darren Hunter here, and I'm with Deniz Yusuf. We are from IGT, and today, Deniz, we are doing something special. We are dissecting your new book, The PM Lead Secrets. Oh my goodness, it is the definitive rent roll growth guide, handbook, manual, whatever you want to call it. It's taken you your whole career to write, Deniz. How are you feeling about the book? We've placed like over 900 copies already, and the book's only been out a few weeks. How are you feeling about it all?
Look, to be honest with you, feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I mean, wow, over 900. I've hand delivered 3. Hand delivered one today, and I am feeling really overwhelmed. And I guess that's because I wasn't expecting us to deliver so many. You were like, this is how many we're ordering, and I'm going, really? Maybe 100, 200, but 900, and numbers are coming in every day. Now the feedback's coming back to me, Darren. So it's like there's a sense of relief as well. But what's interesting, put me on stage, throw me in front of people, and I know that people are going to be happy. But when you put pen to paper, it's like you're now relying that they're in the right mindset of reading something. So they don't get my intensity, my energy, but I did the best I could in the book.
The book's great. It's written really well. Big thank you to Kylie McCorkadale, who was our ghostwriter that took a lot of our training. They recorded training and put it into a book. From there, Deniz, you use that as your base to then pimp it up and change things and add more things in. And you've done a lot of work on it. It's been a real labor of love for you, I reckon, for at least the last 12 months.
Yep.
So, congratulations. There's a huge amount of work that goes into the book, but everyone, it's over 40 secrets on how to grow your rent roll without having to rely on salespeople to hand deliver you leads or, wait until they feed you any leads, when they feel like it. It's also about how to grow your rent roll without having to rely on cold online inquiry that comes in and they just say, hey, I just want to know your fees. So it's all about generating warm quality leads. When you get a referral lead from someone that's spoken to you, one of your raving fans or something like that, and they call up, hey, you're renting a property for such and such, can you manage mine? When it comes in really warm and high trust, they're the type of leads that we're trying to generate here. So Deniz, now just for the people out there, the book is free. You can get your own copy. Just go to pmleadsecrets.com. That's pmleadsecrets.com. The book is free. We just ask you to pay the shipping fee of $9.97. It is small. It doesn't cover all our expenses, but it does get the book into your hands. So go in there and get that. Deniz, we're talking about secret number 5 out of it's actually 45 secrets in the book. They are, 45 chapters. Secret number 5, Deniz, calling current clients. Now, I wanted to start off with this chapter with our podcast because everybody, unless you're starting a rent roll off from scratch, everyone can start doing this strategy right away. Now, let's pull this apart. Deniz, I've seen some amazing results with your coaching clients on the implementation of what we're going to go through now. And recall Mel and Pat in Auckland with their rent roll, they've got several hundred properties that they manage. I won't go into the number, but when they implemented secret number 5 and they started calling their current clients to identify how many properties these clients have that they were not managing, that were with other agents or whatever, and then having to bring them over, They identified over 220 properties they weren't managing. And today, they've already brought over 20 of those over to their existing business, which is amazing. And I know they're really excited about it. So, Deniz, let's talk about this, and let's just use the book chapter as our structure of going through and discussing this, because all the detail is, of course, in the chapter. What are the benefits, of calling current clients for no reason? Because a lot of agents just don't do that, Deniz.
No, they don't. If I can just add to, Mel and Pat, that's 20 new business opportunities that they've listed, right, that they wouldn't have listed last year. Right?
Yeah. We've 20 properties they wouldn't have had if they hadn't actually have done this secret.
Yep. So that was, we identified that there was a blockage, right, in the business through the training that we were doing with them. And it was the first strategy that we put in place, right? The first strategy is call your current clients. Now, and it's the opening quote for chapter 5, Darren. Whenever a new BDM or a new owner rings me up and says, I've got my BDM, I don't know what to do, this is what I tell them to do. And I'm going to let you read my quote, Darren.
All right, well, let's read it. So when a new BDM calls me asking how to prospect, I tell them to work on their current raving fans, their current clients. And how true is that? Because even us, Deniz, I remember you said, Darren, after the conference, call everybody.
Yep.
And I did. And I was surprised at how excited people were.
Let's take it a step back. You said, what do I say? What do I do? This is like the BDM coach teaching the property management expert. If Darren Hunter, you rang me when I was working at Integrity Real Estate, you wouldn't have to say anything. I'm just going to start gibbering. And that's exactly what happened. What do I say? Just call them, Darren. They're going to vomit the verbal information to you. And I remember after a couple of hours, you rang me up. Oh my goodness, Deniz,
I was really blown away. What I found is that trust is very high. When trust is very high, it's very easy to talk to them.
Yeah.
And they will very easily and quickly spill out their problems and issues. And also as a marketer for IGT, I know when we've got a hot audience, people really, really love us, they're ready to buy as well. So with that in mind, your current clients are the hottest audience you're dealing with. And that is from a marketer, that is a dream. I mean, it's just waiting there. As long as they're reasonably happy or better with you, they're going to talk, aren't they, Deniz?
Well, absolutely. And like you were making those calls, Darren, off the back end of like an event, right? So they're on a high, and that's the best time to call them, when they're on a high. Like you're calling them, they're on their hot point. And now what tends to happen is when we all know someone goes to a conference, a seminar or whatever, they go back to their office and it actually highlights the issues. So what the benefit was for us is I remember you saying, oh, like it's opened the door. I can talk to them about this training and this coaching. And I was just smiling like, that's exactly right. Now, a lot of people think, oh, but we don't want our BDM calling our current clients because they're going to work out the issues. Well, hello. Don't you want to be the one calling them to work out the issues before they go to Google, before they go to their friends, before they leave you, right? So it opens up these amazing opportunities. We work so hard to win a listing. As a BDM, I gave my heart and soul. I was pitching for the business, and as you do, you fight for the business. You don't let go of them. You want to keep them as that raving fan. And that's why it's so important. Practice your scripts and dialogues on the new BDMs in calling your current clients. You've got permission to call them. They're yours, so call them, and don't, sadly, most of the time they're getting a phone call because of something wrong, the maintenance or the rent hasn't been paid or the tenant's moving out or whatever the case is. So we want to turn them into bigger raving fans than what they already are. They're a raving fan because they signed with you. Let's get them on board even more. And all right, well, it instills the BDM to gain trust within your company as well.
Okay, cool. Using the chapter's discussion structure, on the next page it says, how often and when are you calling? Let's answer that, but you've also got a whole list of reasons on the page here to call them. So let's just go through that.
Yeah, okay. So there's a good reason why advertising is done all the time. How many times have you heard Bunnings ads? How many times do you see Woolies and the flyers and all of that are thrown out there? So, you know, how many times you hear the same song on the radio? It's that continuous repetition that keeps you top of mind, right? So there's no number that I'm going to say that's wrong or right. You know, it obviously depends on some of the owners. They might be, I don't want to hear from you. Like, just send me my statement, collect the rent, I'm happy. We get that, okay? But you know, you're allowed to just call them and simply just ask them the question. You know, someone like that, I would still at least call them once or twice a year as a minimum. But for me, it's 4 times a year. That's what I believe is a good number. Okay. 4 times a year. And Darren, that's not at each routine inspection. That's your job. Yes. Your job is to call them at the routine inspection. That's a good call. But a happy call or a no reason call is calling them for no reason.
Okay. But you've got 6 things that you've suggested in this chapter. Can you go through them?
Yep, I can do that. So obviously we've got a birthday greeting. I'd love to know, you know, people can jump into the IGT inner circle. I'd love to know. Make a comment. I call my landlords on their birthdays. I would love to know if people are doing that, you know. Births and marriages. I mean, Darren, if I was talking to a potential landlord and they said to me that, oh, look, well, we're going to sell the house or we're going to put a tenant in it once our daughter's had the baby. Oh, wow, what's your daughter's name? When's the baby due? And these are dates that I'm writing down, and then I'm making these calls, you know, so it's a matter of getting it. Football teams, you know, I know you're not a football supporter, so you're not a very good example of this for me, Darren, but Michael Sands supports Essendon Football Club. Right. And when I was training Michael and the Sydney Swans were playing Essendon Football Club, guess what? We messaged each other, all the Kiwis and the Wallabies and any South Africans that we're training. That's what happens. You know, it's your sporting events. This is getting to know, getting personal with your clients as well. Community focused calls, you know, letting your landlords know that something's happening in their local area, because there's a lot of owners that aren't localized anymore. Right, even if they are, it's updating them, letting them know, hey, there's a dragon boat race on this weekend. Our office is just going to be part of it, blah, blah, blah. Just wanted to let you know. Or it could be localized to their hometown as well. You could call them with regards to anniversary calls, 6 months, or a 12-month anniversary call. You know, congratulations. You know, Darren, you've now been a landlord with us for 6 months. That's exciting, isn't it? You know, just give them those no reason calls. Or you could just, you know, give them a call in relation to their own business. So, Darren, if you were a school teacher and, you know, there was new laws coming in about schooling, or you weren't, whatever the case is, I would just ring you up and say, hey, Darren, I just saw on the news that there's a whole new change structure for school teachers, etc. You know, good luck. And that's checking in on your owner. Nothing to do with the business or the property at all.
Yep.
I think I gave an extra one there, Darren.
That's good. All right, let's keep on going. So again, everyone, we're just going through secret number 5, calling current clients, or it's titled Current Client Calls, from the book, The PM Lead Secrets. So just go to pmleadsecrets.com. You can get the book for free, just pay for shipping. Deniz, okay, so we've identified that our best, hottest, most trusting audience that we stand the best chance to start getting new rental properties is our current clients. We've talked about picking up the phone on what sort of occasion, what's the reason or no reason for giving them a call. So the golden question now people have, all right, we've got them in the call, we've got them talking, we're connecting. How can we now turn that to business and identify if they've got other properties that we don't manage? How do we get over that speed hump to that point? You've got some scripts, of course, in this chapter here. So let's just go through those and what are some techniques that people can use?
Well, why don't we read the exact one from the book while we're talking about the book, right? So, let's bring this one up. So on page 27, what can you offer on the call? So this is just a basic, simple one. Hi, this is Deniz here from IGT Property Management. I wanted to check in and see if there's anything else that we could do or we could be doing differently for you that we're not already doing. So it's kind of like we're asking, what else can we do? Or how else do you think we could improve? If I rang you up and said, Darren, what do you think I could do better? I'm sure you could give me 10 things. So this is a different approach of asking. It's a softer way of doing it. How else can we help you? That's what I like about this. It's just that it's that little soft touch point, tapping on the shoulder and reminding them that we're there. And do you know what? Just like your calls to people that attended the conference, they're going to open up. Oh, wow, I thought you were going to call me that my tenant hasn't paid the rent. Actually, no, it looks like they're really good, blah, 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 blah. So you're changing their mindset and you're putting it into a positive, it's that whole positive change to it, which is great, and there's only two answers. It's going to be a yes or no, but you don't want to be, and then you can move on into something else. That's fantastic. Just wanted to update you and let you know our offices actually processed 500 applications this month. How good's that? And we turned down 95% of them. So you're not calling them for an upsell, but you're keeping them up to date on things that the office is doing at the same time.
You could also talk about late rent rates. You could talk about vacancy rates. You could talk about average rents. You could talk about all sorts.
Driving home your points of differences of why they signed with you. Darren, I spent a couple of weeks with you recently, and every time we saw a Lexus, you didn't notice it, but you went, oh, that's a beautiful car. Oh, that's a beautiful car. You're a raving fan for a Lexus, right? So you want your owners to be like that. So you calling them and updating them, put some pride into the owners that they chose your company. That's what you're doing. And you felt that way when you saw the ads. Every single logo on a vehicle is a marketing campaign. It's a sense of pride, and us making these no reason calls to your owners is reminding them that they chose the right company.
Yeah. Okay, so now that we've called them, we've got chatting, we've talked about things that we can improve on, things they're happy about, maybe things that they would like improvement on. How do we now turn that, Deniz, to point now talking about what properties are they aware of that you're currently not managing at the moment? How can we now start turning this call into a direct dollar productive call?
Well, one way of doing it is simply saying, do you know anyone else that would like to be receiving the same award-winning service as yourself? Or do you have another property that we can help you with, Darren?
Okay.
All of us, so this is what I love about it is you've got them in this happy frame, they're all prepared to talk, and then your hands on their throat and you're saying, what else have you got? Yeah. And all of a sudden they're going, oh, actually I do. But I never thought to tell you about the other one because, and that happens a lot because a BDM is so hungry to get the listing that, at the property they're at, they forget to ask, do you own any other properties that we can help you with? And that's okay. I never asked all the time,
But it's also asking, do you know anyone that actually has properties that they rent out as well? Because the next script in the book here, you put here, if the answer is yes, so if they've said, yeah, I'm aware of someone or I'm thinking of buying a property, then you can go on to ask for their details. Again, though, it doesn't matter if they can't think of anyone right now. I think that's a good point. You can always add, and I'll just quote the script from the book. Please keep me in mind if the topic of property management comes up. I'd really appreciate it if you passed on my details. And I think you followed on, it's not intrusive or pushy.
No. So, a lot of people think the BDM role is a pushy role. It's not. It's an education role. Our job is to connect with people. Our job is to educate people. It's not you. If you're finding yourself in a position where you've got to convince a person to use you, you haven't done your job at the beginning, right? Yeah. It's about getting that trust. I was actually sharing with a client this morning on that, Darren. But when people call me, I don't find that I've got to banter for the fees. And I said, because you're getting that business is from referral clients. A BDM has to go out and hunt and collect and educate, right? And then you've got to show them your worth. And if you can get their trust easily, fees don't come into the equation.
Yep. Okay, Deniz, last question, the obvious question is, okay, now we've identified that one, the owner knows people with property, or they actually do have a rental property not currently being managed by you. How do we then bring that property over? And just like Mel and Pat in New Zealand, they identified, firstly, with all the phone calls they did across all their doors, they identified over 220 properties, but now they've actually brought over 20. How do you now, once we've identified, bring them across? What are some ways we can do that?
Well, you've got to treat these landlords now like brand new prospects, right? You've got to put them in the same pipeline as somebody calling your office asking, what are your fees? It's now putting a strategy in place to call them, top of mind. They should be on your newsletters anyway, but if you've got a good business practices in place, you've got your current client business newsletters and you've got your new prospect business. So they've got to go back to being a new prospect again, and educating and calling them. You could offer them an incentive to bring another property over, right? Or you could, which is, we've done a podcast on this, Darren, 12 ways to close the deal, right?
Yep.
And one of the ways of closing is having incentives in place, having a promotion in place, right?
But it doesn't necessarily mean a reduction in management fee though, right? Because people automatically think, I'm going to have to start discounting, and I don't want to have to discount, but it could be a one-off, not charging one particular fee in a one-off situation too. Yep. That could be a small incentive to bring them across.
It could be, a free virtual tour for the first let of your property, not for the entirety. Don't put a line through it.
No permanent discounts, everyone. A one-off, because it still feels the same warm and fuzzy feeling of a sense of value giving a one-off than if you give them a permanent one. Don't throw your money away. Just do one-offs, everybody. All right, that's probably the best thing that we can give. But I think, Deniz, also just wrapping up this chapter. You've got a checklist here. Did you want to go through that checklist?
May as well read it out. So the checklist is, so set how many no reason or ACCA happy calls that you will make each week. And it's important to block these times out, right? Just like you're prospecting. These are prospecting calls now. You're actually doing something proactive in hunting for the business. Systemize your calls and record it on your database. So obviously, if they've got another property, bang, that's a different follow-up if they don't have another property. But if they said, you know what, I might know somebody who's got one, hey, that's great. I'll give you a call in a few weeks to see if you've sparked it up. So, you've got to put those notes and follow-ups in. And what's your offer when you're calling them? Have an offer. Have something. You could be dangling the carrot. Anyone that refers business to us will win. And that could be around a fuel voucher. Fuel is like so expensive at the moment. What a great thing to be offering landlords.
Sure.
It cost me over $100 to put fuel in my tank the other day. And then, are you asking for the business on every call? A BDM, Darren, is always thinking of new ways and how they can create more business out of every opportunity.
I think you just said there that we're talking to our business clients regularly. It's just working that into our dialogue. Oh, by the way, in every conversation that you have. I remember, Deniz, I went to buy a car once. I wasn't buying a car. I just visited a car yard, and it was a Mitsubishi car yard many years ago. And I was there for a real minor matter, but still the car salesperson asked me the question, are you in the market for a new car at the moment? I realized he is asking everybody that. Whenever he's talking to anyone, he works that into his dialogue because he realizes there's an opportunity with every person he speaks to. And you might get a lot of no's, but you're actually going to get a yes. And you wouldn't have got that yes if you didn't work that into your dialogue. McDonald's wouldn't be selling the fries if they don't ask, would you like fries with that? If they don't ask it at all, they wouldn't get any sales. Whether they ask it, in their case, they're selling 1 in 3. So it's really important, everyone, to work that into your dialogue. So, Deniz, let's wrap up this podcast program today. Again, just confirming, everybody, this is secret number 5, calling current clients in the book, the PM Lead Secrets. So just go to pmleadsecrets.com. The book is free. We will get it out to you. You just got to pay the shipping fee. But Deniz, really good strategy to start with. Well done.
It's an easy one to do. People can be relaxed when they're calling their current clients. They've got permission to call them. Cold calling is really hard. Why not start on the really hot leads that are already the ones that love you and your raving fans? It's a perfect way to segue into being a successful BDM.
This is the lowest hanging fruit, everybody. So make sure you start implementing right away. We're giving you some really good stuff there. Thanks for your time, Deniz. Take care, everybody.